You know, folks, last night, of course, as you saw in my review, I enjoyed SummerSlam. I thought it was a B-plus show. It was a decent show. But one thing that I didn't notice, because maybe I was enjoying the match a little too much, was the fact that the fans started getting on something during the Seth Rollins Finn Balor match. And what they got on about was the design of the Universal Championship. I want you to take a look at what's over my shoulder. This is the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. This is a replica of the title. But I want you to recall something. If you're a true die-hard wrestling fan, when the NWA came into prominence, and even to this day, how many NWA titles looked eerily similar to the World Championship? How many looked very eerily similar? You might say, well, the US title never did, the tag titles never did, and the television title never did. That's true. But when you take a look at the classic television and the classic US titles back in the 80s, didn't they look almost similar to each other? I'm just saying. Design and everything. What I'm trying to say here, folks, is a championship doesn't make the man. The man or the woman, the person, makes the championship. See, the NWA and other several promotions have had championships that looked identical to each other in some shape or form. True, there might be a design change here and there to kind of differentiate. But in the end, they were always similar in tone. You take a look at the UFC, and you say to yourself that the UFC doesn't diverse itself. But yet, there's so many of you that love the UFC that you don't care what a championship looks like. How many championships does the UFC have for many of the many divisions? How many championships do they have? How many divisions have champions that the belt is basically the same looking as the other one? A lot. You take a look at the UFC strawweight division for the women. Same title design and look as the UFC heavyweight division. Bantamweight division. The Ronda Rousey division, if you will. What does the championship look like there? Same as the strawweight title. Same as the heavyweight title. Take a look at the welterweight, the middleweight, the lightweights, the light heavyweight. You take a look at the championships that represent all those divisions, and they look identical to the UFC Heavyweight Championship. And you know why? Because that's how UFC works. UFC doesn't go out and say, okay, let's make this championship stand out for this division and that championship stand out for that division. No, because they know that the person makes the championship don't make the person. Now you might say WWE is totally different. It's not like UFC. They shouldn't be like UFC. The WWE should have championships that identify with that division and so on. I know some of you look at the Intercontinental, the tag titles, and the United States Championship, and you say to yourself, those are good examples of what a championship representing certain divisions should look like. And that's true. But who's to say they won't down the line do the same thing to those championships? Because you see, to them, the person makes the championship don't make the person. It's the person that goes out and defends it, puts on a good showing every night for the fans in victory or defeat. See, it doesn't matter who holds the championship. They make that title. The title don't make them. Now you might say, well, TNA and Ring of Honor are different. Let me tell you something about TNA. TNA is doing everything they can to rebuild the brand. And I give them credit for that. I give them credit. They retired the King of the Mountain Championship, and for good reason. It's basically the same title that has been held by numerous people, but oh, by the way, has gone through numerous names without a single design change to go with it. That design change never changed. It went from being King of the Mountain, it went to being global, it went to being television, it went to being legends, and it never changed. No design ever changed it for almost 10 years. That's why they got rid of it. True, they're going to have championships that differentiate certain divisions. The X division, of course. The new Grand Championship, of course. The World title, of course. The Tag titles, of course. But the point is, even the Knockouts title, but the point is, that's their decision. They're not a publicly traded company like WWE. See, WWE wants to have all these different partnerships and associations and affiliations with different groups and organizations, different networks, different cable channels. So they got to do what they got to do. They want to remain on SportsCenter and being talked about on SportsCenter. Of course they might go the route out of a UFC and make most of their championships identical. Of course they're going to do that. But they do it for the fact that they are a publicly traded company, and hardcore fans have to realize that. The NWA wasn't even a publicly traded company when it began. In fact, I don't think there was such a thing at times when they began. But even in the early days, a lot of the championships, whether they were secondary, world, or whatever, all had identical looks in some shape or form. When they would bring out junior heavyweight titles, light heavyweight titles, welterweight titles, middleweight titles, from the pictures I've seen, they all looked identical to this. They all looked identical to this. And why do they look identical? Because they were trying to pass themselves off as a true sport of professional wrestling, which it is. And WWE wants to recapture that sporting aspect at the same time as keep that entertainment aspect. And if by trying to recapture that sporting aspect means basically making their championships identical to each other, with the only differences being that, the belt straps might be different colors and the wording underneath the W might be different as well, then so be it. But the point is, folks, it shouldn't matter to anybody what a championship belt looks like, because it's the champion that makes the title, the person that holds that title that makes the title, not the other way around. And if you want to throw something like Ring of Honor in, I want you to take a close look at the Ring of Honor World title and the Ring of Honor television titles, and tell me, with a slight difference here and there, if they're not identical. Because they are. Take a look at IWGP New Japan, which I guess may be one of the reasons they're doing this, to build a relationship with them. Take a look at New Japan. The IWGP title, the IWGP Intercontinental title, Junior title, Junior Tag titles. I mean, with a slight difference here and there, they all look identical in the front. The point is, folks, the championship doesn't make the person makes the championship. And sometimes I don't think hijacking a show because of something as belittle as that is a reason to do it. or is a true reason that you're doing it. No. You're trying to get yourselves over on television so you can go back, watch it on the network and say, yeah, I started that. That doesn't work, folks. It doesn't. I mean, not showing the respect deserved to Seth Rollins and Finn Balor for going out there busting their ass. For Finn Balor, who may have a short title reign because of an injury. And all you care about is talking about how pathetic the Universal Championship looks? Now I know you might say, well, a lot of us are coming on here and being hypocritical. You know, we didn't, because of the fact that when they announced a Universal title, we didn't like the name. Well, so what? We don't like the name. Hey, big deal. WWE, credit them for its due. Okay? At least they acknowledge that the Universal Championship is just another world title. It's just called Universal. That's it. It's a world title. Now, true, were we expecting something different? Of course we were. But a lot of us pretty much realized the truth. And the truth was it was going to probably look identical to what the WWE title looks like. Difference being, according to sources that were true, it was going to have a red stripe. The point is, folks, you don't hijack a show over something as little as the design of a championship. You don't hijack it and disrespect the men or the women that go and compete in that ring. And bust their ass for you every night and day. Because like I've said before, and I'm going to close it by saying it, a championship doesn't make the person, a person makes the championship. It doesn't matter what it looks like. They make that title something, not the other way around. Let me know what some of you think about that.